Hey, Mindy.
Good evening, my favorite boss lady.
How are you doing?
I'm here.
Scooby talking to you?
Yes. He's saying, you know what? You need to quit working and just go relax.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't think so. I got things to do.
There are a lot of things to do.
I know.
So I sent everybody an email with a scaled down version of the PowerPoint.
I just pulled that up when I saw it. I was getting the Zoom link. Oh, hey, Thomas.
Hi.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hello. Now we have another.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Joyce.
Oh, hey, Joyce.
Who else can I say hi to over there?
There's
Oh,
Reggie.
hello, puppy.
That's Reggie.
Hi, Reggie. Hi, Josh.
Every time. And then I can't get it to, I don't know how to change it.
It changed. Now it says page.
Now it changed. How did it do that? Like I didn't do anything.
I did it.
Probably did it.
Oh.
Look.
Because whenever I click on my name, it just says mute. It doesn't say change name like it does when I'm on my other computer. I don't understand.
Yeah, mine, I looked and looked and looked, and all of a sudden mine changed last time because Deanne changed it. So I figured Deanne has that control on this one.
We
'Cause I
can
can't
change
figure it out.
people's names just in case they put something a little festive on there.
Well, but I can't figure out how to change it myself. Like I've done it before, but I don't know why I can't now.
I think
Well, it
you
looks
can.
different on every platform. Like sometimes when I'm on my computer or my iPad or my phone, they're all three different. Like different things show up when you click different things. So I don't know. But thank you for changing it for me.
So just as a quick reminder, I did just send everybody a PowerPoint presentation that's adapted from what I shared with the teachers and staff. And so it kind of gives you a point of reference for some of the discussion tonight. And I'll try to share my screen when we talk about the district's plan and what that sort of looks like, and then a proposed schedule for us. So I believe. Hey, Vanessa.
I was so confused about why my video didn't start when I told it to, but apparently Riley had the webcam slot closed.
Yeah, so I can eat my breakfast.
The joys of sharing devices.
All right. Is everyone here? Page
Not
missing.
yet.
We're missing Cheryl and Casey.
Okay. I did email it to Cheryl and I talked to her on the phone yesterday. So give them a couple more minutes.
Hey, guess what? My bathrooms will be done tomorrow. I am so happy.
Yay.
This has taken so long.
You've been using a honey pot?
Oh no, they do one bathroom at a time, so I still have another one. Because I'm like, no, I'm not going to be left without devices.
That would surely be fun.
No, it wouldn't. I'm just saying. But I'll have 2 brand new bathrooms, so that's exciting.
Hmm.
Well, I think we have a quorum, right?
All right, well, we'll just start, and if they pop on, they pop on. All right, let's call to order at 5:50. Does anyone have anything they need to revise or prioritize on the agenda? If not, can I get a
I
motion?
move that we make a motion that we move forward with the agenda as it is.
Second. Gosh darn you, Paige, you beat me.
Sorry, I didn't have mute on, so I can just go ahead and talk.
Well, I didn't either. That's why I was leaving it off for now.
Okay, let's do the roll call vote. Motion on the table is to approve the agenda as written. Jennifer?
Yes.
Mindy?
I am in favor of that.
Paige?
Yes, approve.
Missy?
Yes.
And
Vanessa?
me? Yes.
You have Vanessa?
What is, I don't like this grid. Oh, I can see everyone this way. Okay. On to public input. Does anyone have any public input?
Yes. Hold on. I got to make a phone call and get her online.
Okay.
Speaker. Okay.
Hey, I was
Hi.
just gonna call.
All right. You're on speaker. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hello,
Wait,
everybody.
wait.
Hold on.
Can-
Can you? You know what? Hold on. Let me take.
Can
my
everyone
earbuds
hear her?
out.
Maybe. I can't hear Paige now.
Speak on the thing. Can you hear me now,
hear-
guys?
I can hear her when she teaches next door. So
All right. Can y'all hear Judy on my phone? Say something, Judy.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Not very loud.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet.
Paige, we could hear better when you had your headphones in.
Yeah. It looks like she froze.
Yeah. Paige, are you still there?
or she's messing with us.
If you're talking to us, we cannot hear you.
Oh, there we go. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear Judy on my phone? Say something.
Can you
Judy.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to do my quick reminder that this is public comment, so you have up to 5 minutes to talk about an agenda item, and this is our time to listen to you, but not necessarily respond and have a conversation, so that we're listening to what you're telling us.
Okay. So I would like it in the notes. So when you're taking the minutes, if you could put this one in the notes. I do have a hard copy, so I can send it. So welcome everybody. I don't know who all I'm talking to, so I do have some information that I want to share with you this evening. With a possible return to school, we are faced with some difficult decisions. And one of my biggest concerns is not that students are coming back into the classroom. It's more about how that's going to look. As APB moves toward the plan to reopen, I would like you to please consider not only the time spent with students in the classroom, but the time it takes to update and maintain Canvas. As a teacher, I am already working 24/7 to give my students the best education I can. This includes, but it's not limited to Zoom with class, tutoring, small group, and individuals, answering student questions, via Canvas email, answering parent questions, conducting office hours 2 times a week, plans for instruction, make paper packets for students, film instruction videos, update Canvas with a lesson plan that links all the documents, instructional videos, and directions to each lesson, grade, and maintain queue for grading, manning distribution of paper packets along with planning and so forth. So basically you get the idea that I'm not just sitting behind a chair and not doing anything. So with that, the current proposal of bringing half of our students back in the morning and the other half in the afternoon, I am concerned about the amount of Canvas time I will still be expected to do on top of teaching my students in the classroom. I would not be able to maintain my current Canvas as it looks now, along with having students in the class. Because I know that there will be some students that may opt to stay at home, continuing with distance learning. I know that there will be a certain amount of Canvas plans that will need to be created. With that in mind, I urge you to consider the following. Allowing 20 minutes of social studies / science time in the instructional day for intermediate students. This would alleviate the number of videos that would need to be created in Canvas, which can be quite lengthy when it comes to 5 lessons for social studies or science in the upper ends. Still requires the use of both social studies and science still require the use of informative reading strategies that reinforce language arts. So the 20 minutes could be added to the beginning of language arts, could be added. In other words, when I am referring to added, I'm talking about the time that's already allotted. It does not need to be extra time, but the time that is allotted, where you can take part of language arts at the beginning, part of language arts at the end, or even add it to the end of the day, but allowing that at least 20 minutes to meet with students for social studies or science. Also, Canvas would only include the following: the video recording during my in-class instruction with the students, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon, will be posted, and a line to paper and a link to paper copies to be completed. Canvas would no longer include details instructions of how to complete an assignment or instructional videos. Students not in school would need to watch the video to complete the assignment. So basically, I'm asking for, if we're having students back I need to be alleviated from having such the detailed canvas that I'm having now to be able to spend time with the students in class, realizing that we do have an obligation for students that are coming in, but something that's doable for me as a teacher, because I'm unclear right now as to what's expected of me as a teacher as far as canvas time. And so I just like you to consider that as you go forward this evening. So I just wanted to thank you for your time, and just if you would please keep that in mind, for I know all the teachers are everybody is overworked, and I'm not opposed to kids coming back. It's just, how is it going to look different to allot the time that we're allowing for kids to come back. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we good? All right, I'm gonna hang up, Judy. Thank you so much for your input.
Okay, I'll send this copy to Vanessa.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Shooing my children out. All right, on to old business, return to in-person instruction. So I guess where we left off last week was, Deanne, you were going to take that thoughts of cohorts or afternoon morning split and get staff input on those ideas. Also, Cheryl just texted and said she's in the waiting room of the meeting.
Press the wrong button. Hi, Cheryl, can you hear us?
There we go. Sorry, I can hear you.
Okay. So I did.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna tell Cheryl what we had. I hear myself. So from our last meeting, we had an item of return to in-person instruction, and Deanne presented 4 ways to come back for third quarter. One was the district option, which was, you might have to correct me on this, I think it was small group return for like strugglers and people who need kind of intervention work. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'll share the district's plan before I go into more detail on some of the things that we worked out.
And then she presented us with another option, or 2 options, which was coming back either in like every other or 2-day-a-week cohorts, or half morning, half afternoon cohorts, or fully online. So we kind of leaned more toward the morning and afternoon option, but wanted to get input from the staff and a more finalized plan that we could see. So that's what is coming back to us tonight. Okay, go ahead.
So I shared with staff that this is the district's current reentry plan. And since this table was sent out last week, it was modified on Wednesday or Tuesday, I believe, at the board meeting. So they presented this to principals at our elementary meeting on Thursday. And so currently what it looks like is when we return on January 4th, the district will be in phase 0, which means we're continuing our current online distance learning schedule till at least January 19th. That will give families and staff who've traveled enough time to kind of get through their quarantine, staff back in the building, and enough time to prepare the building for student return. And then on the 19th, instead of phase 1, the district will move directly into phase 2, which, as you can see, splits up our schools for K through 2, and then a 3 through 6. So if we went with the district's plan, K through 2 would return for a full day schedule, 5.5 hours a day. And this is currently at the 50% capacity rating, which means that we will still be looking for anywhere between 6 to 7 students to remain online. And if we don't have volunteers for that, we have to come up with a sort of process to figure that out. Or we create alternative learning spaces for those 6 to 7 students and hire staff to do instruction for that. And then for grades 3 through 6, what that would look like would be small groups of 5 to 10 students in the morning for intensive tutoring and additional targeted supports. It is not part of the regular content instruction. They would be there for, I believe, 2.5 hours in the morning, and then in the afternoon, teachers would Zoom with all of their students for their English language arts, in science or social studies if they are additionally doing those content areas. And this is a plan for all district elementary, middle school, and high school programs. And I didn't talk about middle school and high school because their phases don't really pertain to our situation. Any questions about the district's reentry plan?
So I do have a question, just because if we do something different than the rest of the school district, having an idea of middle school and high school that for siblings to be home to help with our students that would still be home, or possible transportation back and forth might be helpful. So just a brief overview maybe of middle school, high school would maybe be helpful just for that kind of knowledge.
So middle school and high school will be online at home for the entirety of the third quarter, except that they're going to be allowed to bring in groups of 5 to 10 students. They're most needy students, and it looks like they're going to be the kids that have failed their classes for some targeted academic support to help make up credits, basically. So there is no plan for the majority of the students to return in secondary until the fourth quarter.
So can I caveat that question with, if they return fourth quarter, will they also have to return at 50% capacity, or will that number obviously change, I guess, throughout the numbers? Because if we decide to stay online for the third quarter as well, if that ends up being the easiest, then could we start fourth quarter at full capacity, or is it still going to be 50%? Or just...
The capacity rating is a best estimate based on what's going on in the community with COVID and municipal
That's what I figured. I just
code.
thought
Right. And the reason the district is going with this particular model with the small groups of students is because they're also anticipating that there's a potential in January when we come back that it'll be at 25% capacity instead of 50% capacity. If the numbers don't go down, if they continue to increase, they do anticipate, not a full lockdown like what's happening in some other areas, but at least a decrease in the capacity. And so, sticking with 5 to 10 kids is sort of the safe plan for the district. And again, this phase back plan could change based on what other parameters kind of come up as we go on. So there's no guarantee that this will be what happens in January, but this is the anticipated plan for what happens in January.
And so if ASD does not allow students, or if their plan is to not have students back in the building, then no matter what we decide, we can't have students back in the building either. Is that correct?
Yes. So we're not allowed to be, I guess, less relaxed as far as the code municipal ordinances go, but we can be more conservative than they are.
So we will not be allowed to have student, if this plan continues and this is what they go with, we wouldn't be allowed to have students back in until January 19th either, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So, again, this is the reasoning that they're doing this is one, looking at the municipal ordinance, anticipating the potential of going back down to 25%, so that they'll be able to have that many kids in a classroom and still comply. And then they are also, as I mentioned to the teachers, front loading the entire third quarter worth of curriculum for English, language arts, math, science, and social studies for all their teachers, because they've had a team working side by side in building all of that content and instructional resources for the teachers, and we do not. And so our teachers are building content as we go. So for at least this year, as we move forward with instruction, any types of videos and things would either be Zoom recorded during in-person classes to support those kiddos at home, or if we're totally online, they would continue to do their videos like they currently do and put that into the Canvas shell. Asking our teachers to go with the district's plan, I think, is going to be extremely challenging, to say the least. And so that was part of my rationale in trying to come up with something that I think will comply with what the district and municipal ordinances are expecting, but do it a little better, sort of, in an Eagle Academy way. And so with that, this is something that I would like the board to consider, allowing me to propose to our charter school supervisor, elementary director, and assistant superintendent for instruction to take to the superintendent. It looks like an AM and a PM session. So it does allow for all of our students to be split into 2 cohorts. And we did that at the beginning of the year, and we took into account also siblings and carpooling. so that families won't necessarily be burdened with driving kids back and forth to both sections or sessions. It keeps the cohorts fairly small, 10 to 13 students. We already have 1 to 3 or 4 kiddos who've said that they would be staying online. So this sort of helps. Those numbers are a little bit bigger than I would like them to be. But at 26 desks in a classroom, we could get distancing spaces of 3 feet. So at 13 desks in a classroom, I think we can get distances of 6 feet. And that sort of also alleviates one of the concerns of kiddos in being able to social distance them, not only in the hallways or common areas, but also in the classroom. This also provides all of our students with the opportunity of being in the building with their teachers and TAs at least for 2.5 hours a day, instead of us trying to figure out which 5 or 6 kiddos would end up having to stay home, or which 5 to 10 students would need to come in to do intensive tutoring or instructional support in the morning. This plan also doesn't have a lunch period, so that we wouldn't have to worry about students being in their classrooms in close quarters with their classmates and face masks off during lunch period.
I'm assuming that the afternoon's time frame on there matches the later schedule, so the 12:15 to 3:15.
So I'll have a schedule, a sample daily schedule of what that looks like. It's on the next slide coming up.
It just, if you were going to turn this into the
Yes.
ASD, that you would want to probably
Yeah,
put that.
I'd put the afternoon schedule on there.
So my question for this is, if for some reason they go down to a 25% capacity, are we still able to do this plan or no?
If they go to a 25% capacity, we might be looking at asking for 2 to 3 kids per classroom to stay home.
Okay.
Per morning, afternoon cohort, or just total classroom?
For each cohort.
So how many students would be allowed to be in the building? Would that be like 8 to, well,
And that would depend on each classroom. Some of our classrooms have a higher capacity than others.
okay.
Yeah. And so as you'll also notice that this plan would be for Monday through Thursday, and then Friday would be totally asynchronous for students, to allow teachers to have their planning and preparation time. And that would include, planning their instruction, and also any uploading into Canvas, any of those support materials that you normally would have for instruction and kids' homework and assignments, things like that. So teachers will still need to maintain their Canvas. It just won't be full of all of the things that they're currently putting in there, like all of the specific instructional videos for the different components of their English language arts, math sections. And then I'll also talk about some of the teachers' requests and concerns when we did meet. So this is what the proposed schedule would look like. And so our previous plan, just for your reference, our Spalding Language Arts block was 115 minutes pre-COVID. And our Saxon math block was 75 minutes pre-COVID. So our previous return to instruction at 100% capacity, with all of our students at 5.5 hours a day, we had proposed 115 minutes of English language arts, which maintained what was pre-COVID, and then, but math went down from 75 minutes to 70 minutes. So in trying to keep that proportion of language arts to math instruction and keeping with a 2.5 hour instructional time day for students, this was a time frame that made some sense. So I did have to figure out.
Is the afternoon session longer than the morning session? Or am I doing math wrong? It's possible.
No, I don't. It's still the,
Yeah, because you got 10 to 3:20, which is 70 minutes and not 60 minutes.
oh, okay.
I think it's 10 minutes longer. between-
So
So
it
it's,
should down to 3:10 instead of 3:20, and then student dismissals at 3:15.
so 3:10, 3:15. There you go. You save that, and then that's where, does that look better?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's where there was quite a bit of discussion and the request by our intermediate teachers, grades 4, 5, and 6, to be able to use part of that 90-minute block, about 20 minutes of that block in English language arts, so that they can prep students for their science and social studies. There, Mindy, would you like to explain the request for the science and social studies to have some of that 90-minute block for in-person?
Yes. When we switch from primary to intermediate, we're no longer working on teaching students how to read. We're really working with them on learning from their reading. And so our proposal was to use 60, 70 minutes to teach our language arts lessons, but be able to use the other 20 minutes to front load our social studies and science lessons for the day and support them through that, because trying to do it online, I've tried many different ways of trying to help them understand some of the content, and they're still struggling. And I really feel like being allowed to teach that lesson before they leave would be beneficial for my students, for our students, to have that. And then once they go home, they'll just be, if there's anything like a review worksheet, or I need them to write a paragraph about something or do a technical drawing, then I can have them do that at home. So all of the teaching would be done at school, and then just the homework part would be done at home with parent support.
So when you say intermediate, should that not include third grade as well? Because isn't third grade considered intermediate? It is sometimes.
We looked at the numbers, and we talked with Mrs. Caldwell, and she is really wanting to stick with the 90 minutes of language arts. She has some students she's very concerned with just learning the reading process. And when we looked at how many students actually level up from third to fourth, I believe there was just one. And Heather and Stacy were just going to work out what would be best for that student between the two of them.
Okay. Perfect.
So you're saying K through 3 do not want to add the extra 20 minutes for science social well, to convert the 20 minutes, not add, I guess. For science social studies, they would want to keep the language arts the full 90 minutes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then do separate videos in Canvas for their lessons that the kids would watch and do at home.
That is correct.
Right. You know, I think it's really critical for us to reinforce that language arts and math, kindergarten through third grade. You know, all of the studies show if you're not reading on track by third grade, you're not going to catch up. And the data also shows that you have a higher chance of not even graduating from high school if you're not on track by third grade for reading. And so I really kind of encourage them to make sure that we keep K through 3 with the 90 minutes and the 60 minutes, because our third graders are also, this is going to be their first year. If the state decides to go ahead with PEAKS assessments, that they're going to be assessed, and it would be really good for us to continue to support our students with not taking away time from their English language arts to do the science and social studies. So it's not that they won't get any instruction in science and social studies. It'll just be that all of theirs will continue to be asynchronous like it currently is.
And then ideally, the students would be getting any instruction that they need for any of the assignments that they would be doing at home for language arts in class, in person, and then they would just take it home to do it at home, as opposed to now that they're watching videos that give them that instruction. Correct?
And then I guess whatever the live instruction is going to be recorded via Zoom for the student or students in class that are choosing to stay at home. And so then there's no Canvas loading. It's just loading whatever you've recorded in Zoom or however that works. So then also say if a student was in class and then they had a question, they could just go and watch that Zoom video from when they were in class before. Am I understanding that correctly or no?
I'm going to just ask the teachers to Zoom record their morning instruction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any point in having them record their morning and afternoon instruction.
Oh, no.
They're going to be, right. So, but the benefit of that would be that our families would have access to that support video. Because sometimes parents are always wondering, well, how do I help my kid? I'm not really sure what the teacher meant by teaching this. And if they watch that video in the evening to get kind of an idea, I think that would really help. And in case a student is absent or wasn't able to make it, if they were at home, you know, that'll also help too.
So
but they're not going to be spending evening times creating a separate video for the instruction.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that was what I was understanding, that it was just what they recorded from their teaching was going to get posted as a video for the student that is at home, vice something totally separate.
But K through 3 will have to do some sort of instructional videos for science and social studies,
right,
as they currently are. Yeah.
So I guess I understood that there wouldn't even be any videos uploaded to watch later, that it was the students were supposed to be online during the class and watching it live so that the teachers didn't have to do other stuff beyond.
We could do that.
That's just how I understood it, but I don't know.
That's what we talked about before. Because before, when we talked about it, Deanne, you had said they weren't allowed to record the instruction in their class live and post it or something.
No, they are.
And I think if we do that, we're going to alleviate a lot of issues for students who are at home. Because if they're Zooming live, there's more distractions at home and we have no control over that. Also, you got to think, we could have students that go into quarantine for 2 weeks or a week or, whatever the case may be. So I just think it would be to our best interest and save the teachers a lot of work if we do record that one Zoom of our instruction, then upload it, and then it's there.
I'm okay with it. I just thought that we had said that they were supposed to be online live while their class was actually happening. And
That would be ideal.
Sure. And I
Right.
think there has to be a way to do it that should be fairly simple, because that is the only way that the high school's running. They sit through their hour-and-a-half Zoom class, and then if their kid isn't there for the hour-and-a-half Zoom class, it's posted later. So I know there's a way, but of course I don't know that way because I'm not having to do that way.
There is a way, and our Canvas champions can work with our teachers to help make that happen efficiently.
Right, Mindy, our Canvas champion?
Absolutely. I've got this.
And then that 11:15 to 12:15, that's plenty of time to sanitize and then have lunch as well for them. I don't know. I'm just, obviously, I'm just curious.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm going to have to work through with health services, and that's going to be all part of that approval process that I go through when I work with the district to see have we addressed all of their concerns, and is this safe for students? Is this workable for our teachers? Does this comply with negotiated agreements, things like that? But also, does it benefit our students more to have this plan than it does to go with the district's plan?
Well, I think it does, but that's just me.
Well, I think it does too. It gives every single one of our students that opportunity
We need that face time
to get the English language, arts, and math instruction and support.
And not only our students, I mean, we have to go back to what we are doing as teachers. And like Deanne said in the beginning, we are creating everything. Nothing is done for us. And if we just bring our strugglers in, 10 students, when is there going to be time for us to do our videos for the rest of the students? So the district option, I don't know how we can make it work unless we hire other people.
So the next screen sort of shows what our specials teachers would be doing on Fridays. So because we're going to have that AM and PM cohort, it's going to be difficult for our specials teachers to actually do their specials. So we're going to move that live Zoom session for students in their specials to Friday. And instead of having K1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the same Zoom for an hour, because the specials aren't going to have the benefits of TAs being necessarily online to support them, they're going to have just one grade level per Zoom session, and we're going to break that out into 2 individual Zoom sessions. And we'll still keep the 2-week rotation.
So would our specials teachers, I guess, what is the plan for them to be doing the rest of the week?
And that is coming up.
Okay.
Yep. so that on Friday, our K through 6 teachers would spend that 8 to 4 day self-directed prepping and planning and getting their Canvas all set up for the upcoming week. So, work schedules and PM instruction. Our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade TAs go home at 1:30. So to support our classrooms, our PM session students, I'm asking, I've met with the special teachers. I've asked them to partner up with a grade level teacher to provide that additional support from 1:30 to 3:10, and then to also support our dismissal. So because 6th grade won't have a PM session, and I'm going to assume, and I'm pretty sure I'm 100% correct, that Mindy is an expert in our Spalding and math and can support 5th grade, because those 2 grade levels, she often has kiddos that level up to her, and some kids that level down, could support our 5th grade instruction in the afternoon.
I think she needs some more training.
I do too, but gosh, I get to work with my bestest friend. Oh, that poor afternoon session.
Can I request to be in the afternoon session?
Oh,
Am I-
yes.
The afternoon
Doesn't
session?
sound like a lot of work will be getting done in that session.
Well, I take my math very seriously, so yes, it will. That will get done.
And so the specials teachers do only work 4 days a week, and since they're going to be Zooming on Friday, and instead of asking all of them to take the same day off and leave the building really hurting for support for an entire day, I've asked them to rotate their days off or stagger their days off. So our music specialists would be off on Thursday. And so from 1:30 to 3:10, we can either hire a sub to support those classrooms with COVID funds, or I'm going to probably assume that because the majority of our disciplinary issues or any office referrals typically come during lunch and recess, that there will be very little disciplinary issues, and I may be able to use those times on those 3 days to be in the classrooms to support those teachers. Because what I don't want to do is just have them in there by themselves. For bathroom breaks and all of those sorts of things, because kids always are asking to use the restroom or drink water, or if anything does come up, to have that second person in the room.
Maybe that would be a good use of an interventionist too, to have, an extra person there. Or 2 interventionists, one for the morning, one for the afternoon.
We can definitely look into that. Hopefully we can hire our TAs and then start looking for people to do interventions.
And that one still a grant funded position? The interventionist TA or something like that? For some reason, I thought it was funded differently.
That is a legislative grant, and I don't know if the district got the legislative grants this year. It's typically always renewed, but they haven't mentioned anything in our, to us in our budget about that. So I can check in on that. But I think in our budget, that's about $4,000, and we can definitely support that through our COVID funds, our CARES Act funds for additional instructional support.
So I don't know if it would work or not, but would it even be possible to ask the TAs who are currently in those classes if they would be willing to stay late one extra day if COVID funds could use to pay for that, or does that put them in the different benefit bracket?
That puts them in the bracket where we start looking at changing their retirements from Social Security over to PERS.
Okay.
And then if we're not careful, then also including health insurance. But I can definitely see if HR wouldn't mind if at least one day a week they had some extra hours.
I mean, if we were only talking 2 extra hours a week, I didn't know if that would put them over that bracket, but
I think it was because when we were looking at having one of our TAs help with the afternoon pickup and trying to manage the flow of traffic for the first 3 weeks to get people used to just driving by the front entrance of the parking lot and going around the back. Just that half an hour a day, 5 days a week was going to push her over the limit. So, and then, you know, for drop off and pickup, we just wanted to have this on here so that when I do report to the district that they, that we have taken into account as many things as possible.
So just to come back to the public input that we got. We're all on the same page and already were, right? That no one is being expected to record completely separate Canvas classes, right? That's what I thought from before when we talked about this before, except for now primary grades, science and social studies.
Correct. So they're going to record their instruction as it's happening for their AM session, and then they'll just upload those videos later.
What is Friday supposed to be? So it says asynchronous homework assessments and stuff are Friday. So there will not be separate Canvas videos. It will just kind of be like a test day, like morning. It's just like any sort of test that were sent home, and then the afternoon is for specials. Is that the way?
Yes.
Fridays are going to look? Okay.
And also my recommendation is, if I can't get this past the district, our proposal to for a variance, I'm going to recommend that we continue to stay online for the entirety of the third quarter or until we can come back at 100% capacity. Because the alternative to these two, our plan and staying online is the district's plan. That is kind of the default.
Well, their plan is just not going to work for us. So.
And was that the consensus of the teachers?
Well, I didn't actually ask them if they just wanted to stay online at 100% capacity or until we come back to 100% capacity. Because most of them had already suggested to me that they really would like to get back to in-person instruction. But I did ask, and you can ask your two teacher reps on the board if they prefer the district's reentry plan to the one that I'm proposing now.
Teachers?
Mindy, would you rather stay online or would you rather do the district's lovely and well thought out plan
Oh,
if and fails?
I want to do the district's plan. You know this.
It's in the minutes.
No, take it out. I'm just,
It's on record. You just recorded it.
I just want e-learning. I was being silly. No, I don't want to do the district's plan. No, thank you.
I don't think it's possible, like I said earlier, for us to do the district's plan without hiring more assistants. So, I mean, and the overall consensus through the teachers, it seemed like everybody wanted to come back face to face with this plan, that that this would work well and get all of our students face to face instruction, and we can really see what is what's going on in their little brains. But yeah, we're back to the drawing board if we don't get this approved. So it sounds like it would be online. I don't know any other way.
So with that being said, and Deanne saying that it's likely that they could go to 25% capacity, would we address that when that comes, or would we try to come up with criteria of who we would ask to stay home if we don't get 2 to 3 students volunteer to stay home per cohort?
I volunteer as tribute.
I think that might throw a few.
You're staying home for cohorts?
I
I'm
don't
just
think you're
saying,
allowed
it's
that.
people in the classroom, not just students. So I could stay home if I needed to, so a student could come and learn.
From
But your class would just be able to split into morning, afternoon.
Yeah. All right. I didn't think that all the way through.
So what kind of, are you looking for us to say a motion of if this, then this, or just that we want you to look at getting this plan approved by ASD and that's our return to in-person plan? Or do you want us to say, like, we want you to look at this, but if this happens, then this, but if this, then this? What are you looking for? Just so we phrase it right the 80th time around.
Okay. So I think that the majority of the current the other charter schools right now in this rotational process of meetings, in their December meetings, are probably already voting to remain online through the end of the third quarter, like most of them have done through the end of the first semester. So there hasn't been any indication from the district that they're not going to continue to allow that to happen. So in light of that, I would really like to see if you're confident enough to support an AM/PM proposed reentry plan in lieu of the district's plan and want me to pursue it. If that's the case, something needs to be official to say, this is our plan. We'd like you to work with the district to get it approved. If the district just kind of laughs at me and says, no, then we either go with the district's plan, or, my recommendation would be to stay online until we can come back at 100% capacity.
Right. So I was asking more, do you want a motion for us saying, yes, we would like to move forward with this proposed reentry plan?
Yes.
Based on when ASD is allowing coming back in person. But then did you want us to also say, but if it gets shut down, this is what we want to do? Are you looking for both or just the one right now?
Well, how many meetings do you want to have?
I can make a motion
Well, before we do that, I think we need to know if we need to come up with, if it goes to 25%, like if they come back and say, it's 80% likely we're going to do 25%, we haven't addressed that in here, what we are going to do if that
Well,
happens.
I think we should just make that part of our motion, and maybe we need to discuss it. But to me, if they cap it at 25%, that's cutting us in half of what they're allowing. So to me, this, like, again, we'd be stuck at in-person wouldn't be possible.
Well, but our room capacity, Deanne, wasn't it like in the 50s? Each class was like 50, 52.
Is, let me pull that up really quick. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to search for our capacity. Really quick. Where's my map?
You can go get mine.
So I found it based because it was in the last principal report from our last meeting. So do you just want me to read them off?
Sure.
So kindergarten maximum occupancy is 42. First grade is 45. Second grade is 44. Third grade is 44. Fourth grade is 42. Fifth grade is 41. Sixth grade is 38. Do we need the specials rooms?
Nope.
Okay.
I was thinking that it was in the 50s.
So Missy's would be 22. So she would be able to have 20 students in there with her and her TA. So if it was at 25% capacity, she would have 11 bodies in there. So she would have 9 students and herself and her TA. And I still have a little bit of a concern with that because that means that I won't be able to be in a classroom. Because then I would be exceeding the fire capacity.
Oh, Deanne, you can
Or
come
Nurse
to the
Jan.
classroom all the time.
I don't think she wants to.
I can pretty much hear the instructions that's going on actually through the walls.
You just stand out in the hallway, look in.
I don't even need to stand out in the hallway. I can sit at my desk.
Are you saying I'm loud?
Sometimes. Jeez.
Can hear you from your room to her office. It's impressive.
So if we went 25%, if we had to abide by 25% capacity, would that just be going back online?
I think that's what we need to decide before we make a motion.
That's why I wanted to hammer that out first.
Yeah.
And the thing that we also really didn't discuss was, and all of you, except for Mindy and Missy, are parents. And so in thinking about how this impacts parents, I know that it's probably going to be a great relief to be able to have your students receive that in-person direct instruction from the teachers, but it also then kind of adds a little daily challenge to having to drop off and pick up your child for a half day of instruction. And so, weighing the cost and benefits, I'm paid to lean toward what's best for the kids. But also you folks are going to be living the day-to-day transportation.
Well, I feel like every situation is a pain for everybody in its own way. But I think for most people, knowing that your kid is going to get some face-to-face instruction, even if it is just for a half day, I feel like that would outweigh the disruption of having to go back and forth. And then if it is too much of a pain, then maybe there will be a couple more kids that would choose to do school from home. That might affect the 25%. So if we had 2 or 3 more kids that stayed home because of the schedule, then maybe the 25% wouldn't affect us. That's my thought initially.
It would be helpful for us to know like how many families it would negatively impact, for that they wouldn't be able to get them there either way, as opposed to how many it would more positively impact. Because if it was going to more negatively impact more than half the families, then it might be a moot point. However, if it's the majority of the families are going to be able to make it work, and it's going to be more beneficial to be in person, even if there are a few families that, like Paige said, they may not be able to make it work and they choose to just do the online at home, that's still an option, that they're not going to miss out on the education. They're just going to not have the in-person. I would think that we would fall more into that side, that it would be benefiting more families than less families.
Right. The families would still have the option, if the transportation issue was too much of a burden, to stay home and do the Zoom sessions live, either in the AM or I think the teachers did recommend, though, that we request that they do the AM session. And then that way they could record it so that they weren't necessarily worried about watching students in the AM or the PM session, or having to figure out who's doing what session and asking questions and things like that later on. So my request to families who want to continue the online, and there may be enough so that if we do come back at 25% capacity, that we would be able to do that instead of have to go back online. So.
Sorry, we're sharing our drinks of choice for the evening.
Wait, how'd you get the Sonic?
I know, right? Did you go to Wasilla?
Nick had to go turn in work for Job Corps, so I persuaded him to stop by Sonic so he could use my car.
Is that a diet cherry lemonade?
Yes, it is.
So then the motion would need to include, could it just include if we have to do 25%, we'll just stay online unless, or not even, I don't know. Oh, sorry, I'm talking and not thinking before I talk. Because we want to see how many parents chose to stay home, because if we could still stay at school, then we could stay at school. But if we can't, then we need to do online. Does that make sense? Or should we just schedule a meeting when that time comes to change it up?
You could say that you would like the principal to pursue the proposed plan for AM PM session. Which would also continue to allow families who could not, who the schedule did not work out for, to remain online. And that if at the point the district or the municipality reduces the, what is the word for it? The capacity to 25%. Should we not be able to meet that, we would remain online.
I would like to make that motion.
Or if the district,
Oh, go
so
ahead.
if they reduce to 25%, or if the district doesn't approve the plan.
Yes. Did you get all that, Jennifer? All that I said?
I'm working on it.
Does it have a motion unless you're going to change it on your slide about you've got the morning shift and the afternoon shift, and you say that on that slide, you say language arts is from this time to this time, and math is from this time to this time, and then science and social studies are asynchronous. Do you need to change that to science and social studies are asynchronous for K through 3, and 20 minutes of language arts block is going to be dedicated to science or social studies in the motion or in
So
your slide?
I would say that grades 4 through 6 may utilize 20 minutes of the ELA block to provide instruction in science and social studies.
Do we need to say that in our motion, or you're just going to change that on the slide?
I'm just going to put that on the
Okay.
on the presentation.
Okay.
Do we have to, I know that things are crazy and all over the place with the virtual and what our charter says for language arts and stuff. Do we need to do anything about that? Because theoretically the students will be taking language arts homework home, but it will not be in a 115-minute uninterrupted block, and the SAC's in for 70 minutes. Do we need to worry about that, or just know that this is a crazy year and we're doing the best we can to make it all work?
That second option, because I don't think anyone is putting that long of videos up anyway, so we would already be violating that if we cared.
Well, and you have to think in class when we're teaching in that ELA period or math period, we're not talking that entire time. The students are doing work. So some of that work will be at home, some of it will be in class. I don't know, maybe I talk that entire time. I feel like I do sometimes.
Jennifer, are you still working on writing down okay. Just
Yeah.
making sure.
Okay. So Mindy made a motion that the principal pursue the proposed plan for AM/PM sessions, that families who aren't able to make it work or transport children or for health concerns, they are able to remain online. If the room capacity is limited to 25% and we are not able to meet it, or ASD does not approve this plan, we will remain online for third quarter.
That's exactly what I said. You got it all.
I try that memory thing, you know.
Woohoo!
Did we have a second?
I will second that.
All right. I know we just talked about it. Does anyone have any more questions, any more discussion on it or anything before we vote?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, nobody was saying anything, so I figured I'd just start that train. Ooh, Scooby-Doo wants to vote too.
I know.
Gerald, do you have any questions on it or anything?
No questions.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to repeat that very long motion because I don't remember all correctly. So we have to do a roll call vote because we're not in an in-person meeting. So Jennifer, are you in favor or opposed?
I am in favor.
Mindy,
Fully in favor.
Paige,
In favor, please.
Missy,
Yes, yes, yes.
and Cheryl.
In favor.
And I am also in favor. All right, the motion passes. So Deanne, you have a fun project now.
I'll go through the PowerPoint tonight and I'll revise it with the information, and I'll send it out to everybody. And Cheryl, I'll make sure that I add you onto the APB group. So you'll get all the communications. That way you guys can see that before I take it to the district. And then I'll start tomorrow morning requesting meetings.
And hopefully they'll
Means
just
a lot.
approve it like that.
And welcome, Cheryl. We're so glad to have you on our academic policy board.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you for being brave enough to run. You,
Business, but have fun at the same time.
yeah, this is a really good group. I think that you'll have a lot of fun with these guys. They're super serious though.
All the time.
Mhm.
Clearly.
I can tell.
We don't have a January meeting yet. Do we want to plan one while we're all on here?
Yes.
Let's do that. Because I think when we talked about it the other day, we were going to wait until Cheryl was here so that we
Yes.
could.
So we have been doing first Tuesdays of the month. We don't have to stick with those if it doesn't work for you, but we do try and find a day that works well for everyone, or kind of well for everyone. So if we did stick with that, Tuesday, January 5th is the first Tuesday in January.
Do you guys think we should move it to the second Tuesday just because we're just coming back from break and I'm not sure there'll be a whole lot to talk about? I don't know. Unless you guys know if there are things that are pressing that we'll have to talk about.
I'd kind of like the 12th because I think that that'll give us a good window of what's happening after Christmas, those 2 weeks, to see what numbers look like and what the possibility is going to be for us to actually come back on the 19th. And then if we hear something earlier, we could always
Do a special meeting.
hold a special meeting.
Okay.
So the only reason, the only thing I can think of that would be on the agenda is we're talking about advertising. And if we're wanting to advertise for February, we may be hitting some of those deadlines to get things in before that meeting. But that would be the only reason that I can see would be a pressing need, unless ASD changed it all up and like went 180 degrees and we're like, now what do we do?
That's the only thing I could think of too.
Do we need to do like, not that it'll really change, but like position?
Yeah, at the meeting.
I know.
At the next regular meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Application period will be closed and we'll receive them and hopefully appoint to fill our empty seat.
That's not what I meant, but yes, that's good too.
Okay, what do you mean then?
Like being secretary still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Still?
I'm okay to share that one.
All right. Is everyone good with January 12th? Okay.
Does 5:45 still work for everyone?
And do we want to just call them for the rest of the school year too? decide on a day in a,
Right now?
I'm good with
Yeah.
that. I got my calendar open.
I'm gonna run and grab my calendar real quick.
okay.
February 2nd is Groundhog Day. By then, we may have had so many meetings, it'll feel like Groundhog Day and the day's on repeat.
I truly hope not. I hope that we
hope
will
not.
definitely be on a new year.
One would like to hope.
So now that Misty went to get her calendar, do we want to call him for the next, or do we want to wait until if we're
January?
a seat that we're asking that person as well?
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I guess we can wait.
Sorry about my phone.
I don't think I've heard a phone ring like that. And I can't remember when.
Do you not have a household line?
I have not had a household line for at
Let's
least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just plan the meetings and that way we have it done. And if that person can't make it at that day or time, then we can adjust them later.
Okay. That works too.
Pending we even get one is what I'm saying. So we
Well,
may
yes.
not have a person. So.
Let's just do it now so I can make my plans too.
Oh my gosh.
I got lots of stuff to do, Deanne.
Okay. I know you do.
So February 2nd?
February 2nd.
Oh, do we want to just pick a, like, do we want to stick with first Tuesdays? Is that what we want to do?
Oh.
That's what we usually do. And then just go through and make sure that it doesn't fall on like an off school week. And then we move it if it does.
Yep.
The only issue with the first Tuesdays is that it is the ASD school board meeting day. So if they do change something, they're changing it at the same time we're having a discussion about what are we going to do if they change something.
I just don't appreciate them stealing our meeting days. They used to be on Mondays.
Gosh.
Well, let's do the second Tuesday of every month then.
When is spring break in March?
The
No.
9th through the
It won't
14th.
work for March.
What? What year are you in?
I have the March.
2025, hoping it's all over now.
The 9th is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're
It's
starting
well,
break
the-
on Tuesday.
it would be the 12th through the 19th. So we could still meet on the second
Oh.
Tuesday. Be good.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. I'm good with that.
So February 9th and March 9th?
How do I make it move? Oh, there.
Oh,
That's
got
what
that.
I do.
Yes. So
And
the
then
12th,
13th.
9th, 13th,
Municipal
11th.
election. Oh wait, just kidding. That was the first.
And just to let you know, I mean, we are supposed to not hold any official school meetings or activities on religious holidays. And so April 13th is Ramadan.
But isn't there school?
Right, but you're still not supposed to hold any, like,
Extra.
yeah. So if you had it on the 9th or the 6th of April, you would still have 3 full weeks in between there. You'd have spring break, and then you'd have the week of the 22nd to the 26th, and then 29th through this April 2nd, and then April 6th.
We'd have 4 full weeks.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not March 9th now?
is March 9th.
It is March 9th. It's not April 13th. It's April
Got it.
6th.
It's April 6th.
That means we'll be meeting on my anniversary.
Oh, yay. We should have cake or something.
So when we go back to in person, does that mean we'll be able to have APB meetings in person?
I
Oh,
think so,
don't
as long as we'll be able to social distance.
So what's the capacity of the staff lounge?
No, our staff lounge is actually our overflow area, so we'll have to use our tech lab. And those are actually set up for social distancing, and it's got plexiglass barriers and everything in case anyone sneezes.
Yes, we just have to be careful if anybody, the public, if anybody wants to come.
Well, we could
Move to the
We could still do it via YouTube Live, just like the school board does,
just have a camera set up.
and have people sign up so that we, if they're going to do public testimony, that they could actually, if they wanted to do it in person, we could have them sign up so that we can figure out how many people we can have. And people can still do public testimony over the phone, just like Paige helps coordinate.
Was the last one on May 11th?
The last what?
ABB
Meeting?
meeting.
I think so.
That's the day my son will turn 30. How can he be older than me? Gosh.
So for January 12th, if staff is back in the building, but
You're
no
off
students,
calling, or you need to tell them to stop calling me.
Who is?
well, then just don't have somebody with an appointment. So if on January 12th, staff are back in the building, but no students until the 19th, does that mean we would not be able to have the APB meeting in the building in January? Or, I don't know. Do we just want to wait till February to attempt that?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
think so.
All right. Are we all good with those?
Yes,
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
And can I
Oh.
get a second?
second that.
All right. Adjourned at 7:18 p.m.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Deanne.
You are so welcome.
I'm excited.
I think it's a good plan. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed.
Me too. I'm tired of being at home. I want kids in my classroom.
I just want my kid out of my house.
I just want to get out of my house.